Hey, great, you found us. Thanks for tuning in. This is Not Good at Normal.
T with Not Good at Normal. Obviously, we're not good at normal because we don't even know what we're doing. But that's okay, because that's why, like, maybe one of you watches. I don't know. Anyway, Mother Teresa, and I have a little something different that we're doing today. And it's not so far out there, because if you know anything about me, or if you see my Instagram, you know that I love all things Hollywood and history. So I'm going to do a movie review, because I recently watched a newer movie the other night, which I rarely ever do. And it's, well, obviously it's a Hollywood movie, but it's not old Hollywood, which I may do a few reviews of those too, because that's my favorite. I love old Hollywood. So the movie, it's a historical movie, because as you know, I love history. And I have some history videos. I have a ton of historic stuff on my Instagram and on the webpage, notgoodatnormal.com, where you can read about history and women in history and women's roles. And I'm going to have a beer vlog coming out soon. Also, one with like history of women, maybe in women in St. Louis. I actually have and I will put the link of that one. I do have a women in history blog. It's just general, but this one's going to be more specific to like early women in St. Louis history, or early Midwest history. St. Louis being the beginning of the West, Midwest, you know, or the gateway to the West, right? Anyway, enough babble. 3 minutes of that. Let's get to the movie already, will you? Okay. So the movie I am reviewing today is Ammonite, and I was very excited when I heard about this a couple of years ago that was going to come out, and it was historic, about a real person in history, Mary Anning. She was I think she was born in 1799, and she was a paleontologist. She found dinosaur fossils. Very, very important, because she was the first woman to do so. She was also the first woman to find a complete dinosaur skeleton of, now they call it a plesiosaurus, maybe? I cannot for the life of me pronounce these dinosaur names. So pardon me, I will write them in the description. And it's probably not germane to the story, because very little was known about Mary Anning, and certainly one, because she was a woman, and a lot of her work was taken as the men said, oh, it's my find. She didn't really find it. It's a fake. Or, hey, you know what? Women aren't even included in the historic museum and the science groups, so who's going to know? But luckily, we do have a record of her. She is recognized now. So get off my soapbox. But again, that's just one of those things about women in history, that women aren't taken seriously, because history was written by men. I don't know why people don't understand that, but history, for the most part, was written by men. And therefore, why should they say a woman did this or a woman did that? Because women used to just, they didn't even go to school. Mary was very, very early. She went like very, very early, little education. She taught herself how to read and to do all these wonderful things, and anatomy and stuff like that, which again is not germane to the movie. I really wanted to like this movie. I love Kate Winslet. I love historic period pieces, especially not just if they're like set in a certain time, but if they're actually about that time in history. And this was based in like the early 1830s, late 1830s. Mary died when she was 47. They don't show that in the movie. So it was somewhere in the late 30s, early 40s. So yeah, I love Kate Winslet. She's a fantastic actress. I love anything historic, and it had supposedly a romance. Now again, we don't know much about Mary, right? Very little was written about her. The fact that she was not married, poetic license. Obviously in Hollywood movies, they take license and they write things. So this movie is, they show Mary and she lives with her mother, and she is collecting her fossils, finding them, cleaning them. And they live in a very poor section of England, Great Britain. It's called Lyme Regions. It's very, very loosely based on Mary's life. It really wasn't Kate's best work, but it wasn't bad. She just kind of played her as a kind of boring, no nonsense, do the work, get out of my way type of person. Which brings us to the love story of this movie. The love story is between Mary and another woman, and I forgot what her name was, played by, I've never seen this actress before, Saoirse Ronan, I think is her name. I'm probably saying that wrong too. I think she's an Irish actress. She plays the wife of some man who the man thinks that she has melancholy, hysteria, kind of a one name for everything branded called, well, like depression, but they call it melancholia back then. And so he brings her to Mary, and he pays her to like let her follow her and kind of learn from her to find how to find fossils, because he was all into the fossils and in the boys' club of fossil finding, paleontology. So this movie is just very, very slow. It starts off slow, and you hear every single little sound, like the sweeping and the cleaning of the concrete stoop outside of a house 3 doors down. I mean, that's a little excessive. It reminded me of The War of the Roses in the 80s, Danny DeVito's first directorial movie, and every single puff of the cigarette and the sounds of the lips, every little sound in that movie. And it's a great movie. It's one of my favorites. I love it. I watch it frequently. But I just can't sometimes get over the sound. And so in this movie, it just reminded me of that, because every step, every sound, every little creak. Why was that important? I have no clue. So, maybe even halfway through the movie or so, I don't know, I lost track. And even for a history buff, it was just a little boring. And so Mary's character had to watch the wife so she was visiting the town or something, and then she got sick, and so she came to Mary's house, and Mary had to watch her for who knows how long, several days, several weeks, whatever. And I guess they kind of grew close. It didn't really show much. It was like they were saying goodnight, and then they started kissing, like literally, okay, 2 kisses in, and then lift the skirt, and the one goes down on the other. Like, okay, I know that lesbian movies are like super quick, or they always show, one date and then they sleep together or whatever. Or the old joke, haha, lesbian U-Haul or something. 2 dates in and they move in. But holy cow, I mean, wow. I was like, and it's 1830s. Like, who does that? But okay, I digress. Then a little later in the movie, they have a love scene that, again, 1830s, like 200 years ago almost. And they're just, and good for them, because, I mean, they were just full on going, it was almost like softcore porn. It was just, wow. Like the things that they were doing in this movie, it was, I just was not expecting that level of, and it was great, fine, by all means. I mean, honestly, I am so sick of watching some of the movies that are about like 2 girls, like young girls, or even, a boy and a girl in high school, and they're just first love, or they're whatever. I don't want to see young kids doing stuff. No, don't go there. So that part, I mean, the story was great. It didn't bother me at all. Being bisexual, it was like, no big, I enjoy it, whatever. It was just a little surprising. So, I mean, that happened so quick, and the rest of the movie was so slow and boring. And then the end, it just kind of ended. It was like, Spoiler alert, maybe, I don't know. It's been out for a while, but and I saw it on Hulu. So I'm really glad I didn't actually go and pay for this because I was so excited to see it. I just was so disappointed. So it ended like this woman wanted Mary to come and live with her and her husband when she got better, and he came home from this trip that he was on, and Mary had to watch her. And she brings Mary for a visit, but then she shows Mary her bedroom and the clothes that she got for her. And Mary, being a lower class, like working woman, and this woman was of a higher stature. She had a big house and a maid. It was, but just kind of ended. And do they stick together? Does Mary go back home? Because she was kind of upset that she didn't ask her or tell her any of this. And it ends at the museum across from one of the displays. So Mary is standing there looking at the other character across from her work. And then the end, credits roll. So I was not a fan of this movie. Enjoyable. I can't even really say I enjoyed it because it was so slow, and the sound, yeah, it was a shock factor. Okay, great, whatever. But I don't know. I don't think it was what I was expecting a Kate Winslet type of period piece to be. So, I mean, if it were like a 1 to 5 stars, maybe 1.5, 2 at best. Thanks for watching. Not Good at Normal, notgoodatnormal.com, Not Good at Normal Instagram, and be sure to hit like and subscribe. Let me know what your favorite historic movie, period piece, or even lesbian drama or comedy or whatever, drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Till next time, we don't know, will it be a Mother Teresa video? Will it just be a Not Good at Normal video? Will it be historic? I don't know. We'll see. Thanks for watching.
If you see me in the mini, please be sure and wave hello. If you liked the podcast, then please subscribe.